this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
Support for the show comes from Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. On Public, you can build a multi-asset portfolio of stocks, bonds, options, crypto, and now generated assets, which allow you to turn any idea into an investable index with AI. It all starts with your prompt. From renewable energy companies with high free cash flow to semiconductor suppliers growing revenue over 20% year over year, you can literally type any prompt and put the AI to work. It screens thousands of stocks, builds a one-of-a-kind index, and lets you backtest it against the S&P 500. Then you can invest in a few clicks. Generated assets are like ETFs with infinite possibilities, completely customizable and based on your thesis, not someone else's. Go to public.com/podcast and earn an uncapped 1% bonus when you transfer your portfolio. That's public.com/podcast. Paid for by Public Investing. Brokerage services by Open to the Public Investing Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services by Public Advisors LLC, SEC registered advisor. Generated assets is an interactive analysis tool. Output is for informational purposes only and is not an investment recommendation or advice. Complete disclosures available at public.com/disclosures.
Hey everyone, it's Cal Penn. I'm inviting you to join the best-sounding book club you've ever heard with my podcast, Earsay, the Audible and iHeart audiobook club. Every episode, I nerd out with amazing guests and dive into the best new audiobooks available on Audible. It's the book club for your ears. Listen to Earsay, the Audible and iHeart audiobook club on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Do you want to find a stress-free way to buy your next car? Start at CarMax and shop your way. And if you want to browse with confidence, get pre-qualified online with no impact on your credit score and shop cars within your budget. From luxury cars to family rides, CarMax has options for almost every price range, including more than 25,000 cars priced under $25,000. So, hey, want to get started? Just head to CarMax.com for details and get pre-qualified today. Want to drive? CarMax.
This is Jana Kramer from Wind Down with Jana Kramer. Instead of giving your mom something that fades, give her something that becomes part of her home this Mother's Day. The Lennox Spice Village is a set of 24 hand-painted little houses that are actually spice jars, perfect for anyone who loves to cook, entertain, or enjoy the little details that make everyday life special. As a mom, I love gifts that help turn ordinary moments into memories. Charming, timeless, and meant to be used, this is one of those pieces she'll treasure. And once you see it, you'll want it for your own home too. Find the full collection at lennox.com/spicevillage.
Okay, we're back with part 2 of Between Us Doctors. I'm Dr. Terry Dubrow, and you are?
I'm Dr. Robert Schwartz.
My buddy. Two crazy, wild and crazy board-certified plastic surgeons. Okay, we have some really, actually, I think, very good and relevant and useful listener questions. Okay, so why don't we go ahead? We talked about the Leanne Rimes deep jaw release video that's gone viral. Okay, don't do it. It's a scam.
Don't do it.
Give me a break.
And it's dangerous. More than anything else, it's really, really dangerous.
Okay, do you think Margot Robbie's slimmer face is more likely from buccal fat removal or weight loss from Ozempic or just normal aging? So have you seen her recently? I mean, extraordinarily beautiful woman, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, genetically gifted. And a very good actress too, obviously. I have noticed, I did look at that. So I don't think Margot Robbie has had buccal fat removal, which is a procedure, by the way. It takes like 20 minutes. You make incisions on the inside of the upper part of the mouth, right across from the second molar, and you dissect into this compartment of the face that has this sort of little extra pad of fat that's below the muscle, that's on the other side of the muscle, the deeper side. And it can make your face, if it's round, thinner. And I think we both agree that it's rarely indicated in patients, only in very specific situations. Should you even consider it in a young patient, because you may pay for it later when you look much older. So how often do you do buccal fat excision?
Very rarely.
Yeah.
And I get people coming forward, and I usually talk them out of it.
Right. Yeah.
I usually talk them out of it. It's just, that's one of those things. I don't have an that's not one of those things that I'll go like, oh, never do this. But it's not on my, A list.
I think
it's mildly effective at best. And frankly, you got to think about some of these procedures long term, because fat in your face is a valuable commodity as you get older.
Right.
And you don't just want to like wantonly remove it. It's a bad idea.
So my first 5 years when I came out, it was the hottest procedure. We did it on everybody. Every guy wanted it. It gave them more of a Terminator kind of jawline.
Yeah,
and
a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
it really creates that little hollow below your cheekbone.
It can. And now, of course, like everything else, we've learned when it's a good idea and when it's really not a good idea. And I think it's someone like a Christy Teigen, who has a very round face, that it can be useful, particularly if she's sort of over 40. So we sort of know what she's going to look like in the future. I think that's pretty safe. But I think if you do it in sort of a Margot Robbie situation, it's probably a really bad idea. I actually don't think she's had it. My suspicion is that she's just a little thinner. You know, I think actresses, I mean, you know, we talked about this Ozempic, anorexia Ozempic thing where, you know, we're basically able to shut off our appetites now using these GLP-1 drugs. And I just think some people are just taking it a little too far, and maybe she's just a little thin right now. And that's not to say that Margot Robbie's on a GLP-1. I doubt it, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I think she looks a little leaner overall, and buccal fat doesn't do that. Buccal fat removes a little bit of fat from a very specific area. It doesn't make your face look thinner overall. It just doesn't do that.
So a deep plane neck lift with submandibular gland shaving. So the submandibular gland, it's located sort of halfway between the tip of the chin and the angle of the jaw back there. Okay. Yeah. And it's just below the bone, and it can bulge a little bit. And there are some well-known surgeons who actually get in there and they have a device and they shave it up. Some guys actually remove it. They take it out of a capsule and they cut it up. And you can get the main side effect, of course, is xerostomia, right? Is the dry mouth if you bugger it up too much. Because it's
something called a sialocele, where you get a fluid pocket of saliva in your neck.
That's right.
Or major nerve injuries that can paralyze part of your face.
Right. So there are some surgeons, though, who get in there and they use a shaving device and they take sort of the outer edges of it off. I think it's rarely indicated. I think it's, the risk outweigh the benefits. I know there's a couple of guys out there who are well-known who do it routinely. And I have seen, because I always see everybody's mess-ups, so I get to see their old records, and some of those guys who do it routinely charge, $85,000, $90,000 for a procedure that probably takes 4 minutes on each side.
$85,000, $90,000 just for that?
Yeah. It's an add-on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
And
nice.
I think mostly it's probably not a good idea, in my opinion. Now, that's the thing about plastic surgery. I want to hear your opinion. Plastic surgery, you get 10 good plastic surgeons, you're going to get 7 different kinds of opinions. What do you think about it?
I think I always look at these things from a risk-benefit perspective. And so I think, with very, very rare exceptions, the difference you're going to get in your result of the facelift in terms of how overall much younger or better the patient looks, I think anything you do to the submandibular gland, no matter how aggressive, it's at best the sprinkles on the frosting on the cake. It's definitely not the cake.
Right.
And if it were a completely benign procedure that
we'd all do it.
We'll take off a little bit of the submandibular. It is not that, though.
No.
It is a procedure that is going to add little to your result, if anything, and is exposing you to some pretty significant risks. And so for me, that's a bad idea.
Okay,
that's just a bad idea. Why are we going to add potential significant risks to a procedure for very little benefit?
Okay, so if we were doing a smash or pass, it would be a pass. Have you noticed this thing that they're doing on Instagram, smash or pass?
Yeah.
Pass. Okay, you pass. Okay, I watched the Whiskers podcast. Have you ever seen the Whiskers podcast?
We have very different feeds.
I know. It's these 2 AI cats, because I love cats, that are talking to each other. And one episode,
why did I know this?
I know. In one episode, they go, okay, guys, it's okay. Time for a smash or pass, and they show this cat, sitting there, And they go, ooh,
Yeah.
I wouldn't throw her out of bed for eating crackers. That's a smash. They show another one.
Yeah, I think that's what they're referring to in Smash or Pass.
Yes.
I don't think they're referring to your submandibular gland.
No, and then another one's again, they show another cat licking its butt. And one goes, okay, that's a thing we do, but it's still a smash.
We so have to get you a hobby.
I know.
We really do.
I recommend.
What are you doing with your time?
I'm right.
You're watching talking cat videos, talking about licking their buttholes. This is what you are doing with whatever limited amount of lifetime we have left. You're doing this. Really?
It's what I'm into. Okay. To each his own.
I know.
All right. All right.
No, not
hey,
to each his own.
I'm into AI generated cats licking their buttholes. Okay, that's my thing. All right.
That's your thing. All right. I guess. Okay, fair enough. That's the hobby.
Support for the show comes from Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. On Public, you can build a multi-asset portfolio of stocks, bonds, options, crypto, and now generated assets, which allow you to turn any idea into an investable index with AI. It all starts with your prompt. From renewable energy companies with high free cash flow to semiconductor suppliers growing revenue over 20% year over year, you can literally type any prompt and put the AI to work. It screens thousands of stocks, builds a one-of-a-kind index, and lets you backtest it against the S&P 500. Then you can invest in a few clicks. Generated assets are like ETFs with infinite possibilities, completely customizable and based on your thesis, not someone else's. Go to public.com/podcast and earn an uncapped 1% bonus when you transfer your portfolio. That's public.com/podcast. Paid for by Public Investing. Brokerage services by Open to the Public Investing Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services by Public Advisors LLC, SEC registered advisor. Generated assets is an interactive analysis tool. Output is for informational purposes only and is not an investment recommendation or advice. Complete disclosures available at public.com/disclosures.
Hey everyone, it's Cal Penn. I'm the host of Earsay, the Audible and iHeart audiobook club. This week on the podcast, I am sitting down with Ray Porter, the narrator of Andy Weir's audiobook Project Hail Mary, massive sci-fi adventure about survival and science and what happens when you wake up alone very far from Earth.
I really had to make a decision because I caught myself getting that frog in my throat and starting to get teary as I'm narrating some of these sections. And it's like, okay, yo, is this indulgent? And I really thought about it. I was like, no, at this point, it would kind of be betraying the trust the author and the listener have in telling this story if I don't go through it. But there's places in this book that deeply emotionally affected me, and I left it on the mic.
That's great.
Because it served the story. People will say like, oh my God, I cried at the end. It's like, yeah, dude, me too.
Listen to Earsay, the Audible and iHeart audiobook club on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Jana Kramer from Wind Down with Jana Kramer. Every Mother's Day, I tell myself I'm going to be more thoughtful than flowers because flowers are beautiful, but they don't last. In my house, everyone always ends up in the kitchen, friends, family, the kids, and I love having things around that spark conversation and feel special. That's why I love the Lennox Spice Village, and your mom will too. It's a set of 24 hand-painted little houses that are actually spice jars, and I swear people notice it the second they walk in. It's charming, it's nostalgic, and it somehow makes even everyday cooking feel a little more fun. And here's the best part. It actually gets used every day. Whether you're starting the full set or helping her complete one she's loved for years, there's a whole world of Spice Village to explore. This Mother's Day, give her something she'll treasure long after the card is put away. Trust me, once you see it, you'll want one too. Find the full collection at lennox.com/spicevillage.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. You sitting there wondering, what podcast do I want to listen to? Are you thinking to yourself, so many podcasts? Which one do I want to pick? We can answer that for you. Listen if you want to. No, we're not saying listen if you want to. We're saying that's the podcast. Listen if you want to. We talk about everything you're going to want to hear, your favorite celebrities, pop culture, what to watch on TV, what music to listen to, what games to play, what clothes to wear, where to go, what to do. It's called Listen If You Want to. Danielle, you say something. You're doing so good.
Keep going. Okay, guys, Listen If You Want To is available on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Let's talk about fat transfer to the breast. Very interesting. Okay. So what we're talking about is there's essentially two ways to do a breast augmentation right now.
Yeah.
There may be more because there's no other things like aloe clay, and you could inject other kinds of injectables, but okay, right.
Yeah. Well, aloe clay is processed fat, if I remember.
It's cadaver fat. Cadaver fat. Yeah. Okay.
Even better. Yeah.
I know. All right. So
it's weird how much more appealing it sounds when you call it aloe clay.
Right, aloe clay.
As opposed to calling it fat from a dead person.
I know, right?
That's good. Hey, nice job, marketing team, on the renaming.
Right.
Way to go.
What are we going to call this dead dude's fat that we're putting in people's breasts?
Yeah.
I know.
Fat de corpse.
Oh, no, I've got the idea. Let's call it aloe clay. It's lovely. By the way, it's weirdly similar to the way they name drugs. I mean, who thought of terzepatide? I mean, what's that? Or Monjaro. How about, hold on.
Monjaro. Yeah.
How about,
they basically took Kilimanjaro and took the kill out, which was a good move.
Where did Zepbound come from? Who thinks of these?
Know.
Zepbound. But by the way,
look at the way they name our implants, right? The softer Allergan implant is the responsive implant, okay?
Right?
And the firmer one is the soft touch.
Yes. Okay. How does that make right? Yeah.
Well done, boys.
Yes,
well done.
I know. All right.
But what about the people who named? I don't mean to go on this, but what about the people who named Xeomin?
Yeah. That's one of the Botoxes, Xeomin.
Seriously? Really? Seriously? Because when I first heard that when I was like in my 50s, I'm not proud of this. I still went,
Xeomin. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Okay.
That's what you're putting in your face?
So
really?
Currently, the two ways, and people are combining them, by the way, to make your breasts larger is either to use, of course, a breast implant, which has been around since the 70s, and or adding fat from sort of like a BBL of the breast, fat transfer to the breast, okay?
Yep.
And that is an acceptable way, theoretically, of adding some volume to your breast. Now, what's interesting is when we were young plastic surgeons, the dermatologists were doing that, and we ragged on them to no end. We thought that's so dangerous. And then, of course, 30 years later, it's now an accepted procedure in plastic surgery. What you see a lot with fat transfer, which I think is really sort of doesn't make sense for me. People who've had multiple previous operations have a lot of scarring, will go to a doctor. The doctor will do liposuction from somewhere and inject it into that scarred up breast. Well,
doesn't work.
Think about that. I mean, you're basically taking a potted plant from one soil bed and putting it, digging it up and putting it into another, depending upon how well irrigated the other soil bed and whether it's a good environment for it to live and take. And if you inject it into a breast that's had multiple previous operations, a lot of scarring, what are the chances it's going to get its own independent blood supply and live? Low. And if it doesn't, if you're lucky and it doesn't, it just gets absorbed. If you're unlucky and it doesn't get its own blood supply and absorb, it can turn into what we call fat necrosis or oil cysts and be painful, or granulomas, foreign body reactions, or worse.
Right. Well, I think you hit the nail on the head with your soil analogy, because literally what you're doing in that case is you're taking some sort of tropical plant from Florida and trying to plant it in Arizona. It's not going to work. I was the first person to do that procedure in Dallas.
Really?
So after it was, basically we got the okay that, it doesn't get mistaken for cancer. So I have a fair amount of experience doing this.
And
it's an okay procedure at best. And so when someone comes to me for a breast augmentation, they want to know, should they do fat or breast implants? The answer is never fat. And the problem isn't because it's so risky. It's because it's so minimally effective. And there's a number of problems with it. The first is you can only put so much fat in the average female breast because you have to put the fat in as little micro droplets. or it doesn't survive. You can't just go and squirt a big amount of fat in there. It just dies, and it creates the problems you just talked about. So you can't do that. So there's only so many places you can put it.
When is it useful? For small augmentations, at best.
In my book, it's useful for a patient who comes in primarily for liposuction and is of the feeling that, hey, instead of wasting the fat, let's get what we can in my breasts out of this fat.
Okay, but
I've got no issue with that. That's a great use of it. You'll get something.
Okay, but
I don't think I've ever done one where you can't tell the difference afterwards.
Right, but here in Beverly Hills, the people who are trying to market their practice are doing combo platters now. That's the big thing. Do a breast implant, take fat from the stomach and inject it at the same time. I think it's not the greatest idea because you're lifting up the breast tissue, radically reducing the blood supply to create a pocket.
Yeah, compressing the breast tissue at the same time.
Right,
from the
and compressing it. And then just as you're sort of waiting for it to reestablish its blood supply, which it will increase its blood supply as it's healing, you're now putting a vascular demand on it by asking it to give fat transferred into its own independent blood supply. I think it's a mistake.
In addition to whatever risks there are of the breast implant.
Okay,
I call sham.
Okay, so pass mostly on fat transfer, pass on combination implants and fat transfer, and okay.
So I would say smash on fat transfer in the right patient.
Okay,
nothing wrong with it. I would say pass on implants plus fat transfer. I can find no convincing argument that I've ever seen or results that anyone has ever shown that would suggest to me that's a good idea.
Okay, do surgeons take lunch breaks or pee while we have long operations? So let's say you're doing a 5-hour operation. You're doing a breast augmentation, a breast lift, and a tummy tuck. How long would that take you? 5 and a half, something like that?
You're talking about a breast aug, a breast lift, and a tummy tuck?
Yeah.
Or, wait, what was on the
list?
Augmastopexy
tummy tuck. Augmastopexy tummy tuck.
Yeah, probably about 5 hours.
Okay, so 5 hours. So that's, and it's, let's say you're crossing, it's your second case. You're going from 10 to 2:30. It's crossing past lunch.
Yeah.
What do you typically do? Do you take a break? Do you pee? What do you do?
I would rarely do either. So I would certainly not break for lunch.
Mm-hmm. But I think it's acceptable
in and of itself.
But I think I think
it's acceptable to step out and look. It's acceptable to step out and pee. Obviously,
right.
I'm not quite at that stage that I need to go that often.
Right.
So usually I try to remember to go before we get in the car or whatever.
Right.
So it's generally it just doesn't happen. I don't hydrate heavily on the morning of surgery.
Okay, so
that's rarely an issue. But I don't see anything wrong with it. Nor do I think there's anything wrong with stepping out and having a protein bar or a protein shake.
Right.
But no, a half-hour lunch, clocking out and clocking. No, that's not acceptable.
So having said that, I think that most surgeons, when they do an operation, even as long as 7 to 8 hours, never scrub out, never eat anything, and never pee. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah. Although I'll say this, there's a lot of operations that you're doing. Okay, the reason operations in plastic surgery run that long is because people are doing multiple procedures.
Right.
And very often when that's happening, there's some point where you need to re-prep and drape.
Then you have a natural break.
Like that. And then there's a natural break.
Because you have to scrub back in.
While the nurses are doing that, where I could step out and go to the bathroom or have a little snack or something. But if it's just we're going continuously and there's an extraneous reason why I should do that, very rarely.
I don't
think it's wrong as long as it's limited in scope.
I think in the nearly 30 years that I've been doing this, I think I've probably scrubbed out from an operation, any operation, maybe twice.
Yeah.
What's weird is you're so focused and so into it that you would literally never have to pee. But the moment,
I don't think about it.
It's the weirdest thing, isn't it? The moment you take your gown off, it's all of a sudden you go, oh, gotta pee.
It's the gownal bladder reflex or whatever it is. I don't know what it is. Yeah. No, look, honestly, the anesthesiologist sometimes does that. But
yes, they do it.
They're not surgeons. And by the way, when they come back from that, please tell me you relentlessly mock them for it.
I say, oh, must be nice. I said, did you bring a new playlist?
Why?
Because let's face it, they're anesthesiologists, less DJs.
Was that very satisfying for you? Remember to wash your hands.
Did you have a little snake? Did you have a snake? Do you feel better now?
Bladder feel better now?
It's still I still hear the beep, beep, beep. You're good. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, by the way, nothing happened in your absence. I watched the screen.
Hey everyone, it's Cal Penn. I'm the host of Earsay, the Audible and iHeart audiobook club. This week on the podcast, I am sitting down with Ray Porter, the narrator of Andy Weir's audiobook Project Hail Mary, massive sci-fi adventure about survival and science and what happens when you wake up alone very far from Earth.
I really had to make a decision because I caught myself getting that frog in my throat and starting to get teary as I'm narrating some of these sections. And it's like, okay, yo, is this indulgent? And I really thought about it. I was like, no, at this point, it would kind of be betraying the trust the author and the listener have in telling this story if I don't go through it. But there's places in this book that deeply emotionally affected me, and I left it on the mic.
That's great.
Because it served the story. People will say like, oh my God, I cried at the end. It's like, yeah, dude, me too.
Listen to Earsay, the Audible and iHeart audiobook club on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Jana Kramer from Wind Down with Jana Kramer. Every Mother's Day, I tell myself I'm going to be more thoughtful than flowers because flowers are beautiful, but they don't last. In my house, everyone always ends up in the kitchen, friends, family, the kids, and I love having things around that spark conversation and feel special. That's why I love the Lennox Spice Village, and your mom will too. It's a set of 24 hand-painted little houses that are actually spice jars, and I swear people notice it the second they walk in. It's charming, it's nostalgic, and it somehow makes even everyday cooking feel a little more fun. And here's the best part. It actually gets used every day. Whether you're starting the full set or helping her complete one she's loved for years, there's a whole world of Spice Village to explore. This Mother's Day, give her something she'll treasure long after the card is put away. Trust me, once you see it, you'll want one too. Find the full collection at lennox.com/spicevillage.
Now, we all know women's basketball is the moment. This is Ashanti Plummer, and I'm here at iHeart. We have an amazing new podcaster who now happens to be a top WNBA draft pick. We're talking about my friend and co-host, AZ Fudd, of course. So congrats, AZ, from all of us here at iHeart and your friends over at Geico. We know your life's about to change. New city, new locker room, new home. It's exciting, and it's also a lot. But here's the thing. You're not doing it alone. Of course, you got your friends, your family, and your teammates. But you also got us here at iHeart Women's Sports. And you got Geico, who will be with you every step of the way. So while you're stepping onto a new home court, know you've already got a full bench and a gecko behind you. Congrats again to AZ Fudd. And if you're not already listening, go check out our podcast, Fudd Around and Find Out, on the iHeartRadio app or anywhere you listen to podcasts.
You're a pro at running your life, at committing to your workout, at showing up every day. At Bombas, we're pros too. Pros at making socks. Our sport assortment has specialized socks for whatever sport you're committed to. Running, hiking, golf, Pilates, and so much more. Made with sweat-wicking yarns, blister-fighting details, and targeted arch support. Bombas Sport is pro-level socks from the pros of socks. For another pro, you. Go to bombas.com/audio and use code audio for 20% off your first purchase. That's bombas.com and use code audio.
No bachelorette season? No problem. Hey, it's Ben Higgins.
And Ashley Eccadetti from the Almost Famous podcast. Even though the fate of Bachelor Nation is a giant question mark, we're not going anywhere because the Bachelor universe has expanded.
We're still bringing you great reality TV show recaps that your favorite Bachelor Nation alum are a part of. Interviews with your favorite cast members, news, and did we mention our very own Ashley is a cast member of Bravo's The Real Housewives of Rhode Island? We're breaking down every episode and giving you the behind-the-scenes details only our podcast can give you.
Listen to Almost Famous on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
What is the best way to remove a scar? And of course, the answer is it depends, right?
Yeah, it really depends. So if we're talking about It depends why we're removing the scar, right?
Let's
if
say
the
it's
scar
let's say
is
it's
raised or thickened or wide,
Yes.
you cut it out and reclose it.
Yeah. Right.
Sometimes you inject some steroid at the same time that
Right.
you do that.
What about if it's a flat scar that just could be better?
Like too wide?
Too wide, irregular, something. Some areas of
Yeah.
it are slightly, irregular.
Basically, essentially what you're doing is you're recreating the wound and closing it better.
Right, but there is a role for PRP, microneedling. I mean, and some laser.
Yeah.
It's a thing, and it's a big thing here in Beverly Hills. Lots of PRP, microneedling, and laser. And actually, it can remodel the scar. I know what you're thinking. Because we're surgeons, give me a break. Let's just cut it out. Give me 10 minutes and restart the clock, and it'll be better.
Yeah.
Right.
I think those things are better. I don't discount that they're that they have a role. I think the role is limited, and I think they tend to be more effective when the issue with the scar is either the color of the scar or the texture of the scar. It's not going to fix a pale, wide scar. It's not going to fix a hypertrophic scar. Or
I think if the scar
it's not going to do that.
If the scar's red, and you put pressure on it with your fingers, and the redness goes away, it can be very helpful to do an IPL, intense pulse light treatment, to try to get the circulating blood in the superficial vessels to get out of there, and that can be very helpful. Is it ever a good?
In that case, it'll fade and shrink the scar.
Yeah. Is it ever a good idea to have plastic surgery outside of the U.S.?
Okay, so the way most people do it, no.
Yeah, I think.
So, look, are there good plastic surgeons all around the world?
No doubt.
Yes. Are those the people that are marketing to you who are in, say, Mexico or Turkey or whatever?
Right.
No.
Right.
No. There are excellent plastic surgeons in Mexico. They're in, places like Mexico City at major hospitals. And by the way, they're probably just as expensive as American surgeons.
Yeah, the problem is if you come back here and with a complication, nobody wants to touch you. You're kind of at your wit's end there. I think.
Look, it's not necessarily a great idea to fly in the weeks following plastic surgery or any surgery.
Yeah, I think
there's a heightened risk of a flight, and particularly an overseas flight.
Right.
And if you're going to the best people in these places, for the most part, your savings are not going to be that compelling. But that's not who's marketing to you.
That's true. So not a good idea.
Don't know what you're getting,
except for maybe a hair transplant in Turkey. They seem to really got that wired. They do a good job, and it costs next to nothing, and they put you in a hotel room. I've seen this on internet. It's pretty amazing, I think. Yeah.
Still, look, I think
medical tourism. You're a pass, not a smash for that.
Look, I'm a pass just because I think it's hard to evaluate how good a doctor is here.
True.
It's hard enough to do. It's hard. I mean, we had a whole discussion about how hard it is to, choose a good plastic surgeon. And when someone asks me, who's a good rheumatologist for me to go to? I have no idea. It's hard enough to figure out who a good doctor is here. Try and figure it out in some other country.
Yeah, I agree.
Good luck.
Well, we have many more listener questions that we'll answer. Maybe we'll answer them next time, but we've run out of time. That, as always, was so fun. So fun. And I would recommend you, if you haven't watched the Whiskers podcast, you see two AI-generated cats talking to each other. It's hilarious and very cute.
I feel like we have very different uses for AI, you and I.
Yeah, I know.
I have to agree to disagree. I am not watching the Whiskers podcast. Except now I'm going to get the Whiskers podcast.
Oh, I know. Your phone is listening.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was your plan all along, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I think next time on Between Us Doctors, I think we're going to talk about something even more shocking and interesting than we have even in the last two. And this has been very good and helpful. I hope you all enjoyed it. And we will see you next time.
This is Sarah Spain with a huge congratulations to WNBA top draft pick and amazing iHeart podcaster, AZ Fudd. From all of us here and your friends at Geico, we know your life is about to change. New city, new locker room, new home. It's a lot. But you're not doing it alone. You've got friends, family, and teammates. You've got all of us at iHeart Women's Sports, and you've got Geico with you every step of the way. Congrats again, AZ. Listen to AZ's podcast, Fudd Around and Find Out, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If we find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes to your financial accounts, we alert you right away. All through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/iHeart. Terms apply.
You know the fastest way to ruin a great adventure? Getting dehydrated. For real. That's why you always gotta plan ahead with some Liquid IV Hydration Multiplier. Veteran move. You're basically your own hydration coach at that point. Just one stick and 16 ounces of water hydrates you faster than water alone. Boom! Back in the game. Hydration Multiplier powered by Liquid IV Hydroscience, which is fancy talk for a smart science-backed mix of electrolytes and essential vitamins doing the dirty work to keep you going strong. Go to liquidiv.com and use the code NUTHOUSE for 20% off your first purchase.
At CVS, it matters that we're not just in your community, but that we're part of it. It matters that we're here for you when you need us, day or night. And we want everyone to feel welcomed and rewarded. It matters that CVS is here to fill your prescriptions and here to fill your craving for a tasty and, healthy snack. At CVS, we're proud to serve your community because we believe where you get your medicine matters. So visit us at cvs.com or just come by our store. We can't wait to meet you. Store hours vary by location.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.